304 kilometers. That's quite a distance. The Oslo fjord is the half. It's 100 kilometers. And I will ask you now, are you really early birds in the morning? When did you arrive today? When was the ship here? At 9. At 9. Okay. Were you up at 6?
Yes.
You did? Yeah, you were up high. Could you eventually remember to have seen a gigantic lighthouse in red paint? That's approximately 3 hours voyage from here, and that's when the Oslo fjord starts. And it ends here. The Oslo fjord, as I said, is not the longest, but it is the fjord with the most and numerous species of fish. Because in the Oslo fjord, there are more than 100 different species of fish, shellfish. And every day, as today, behind your ship, people are sitting along the quay fishing. And today it's mackerel. Now is the season for the mackerel. And the mackerel they catch here is absolute prime quality, I assure you. It's so good. And it can also be rather big, you know. And it's absolutely recommended. Therefore, every day people are sitting there fishing. That was not always the case, that the water was as clean as it is now. Because back in 1951, the kids testified, the girls and the boys, they learned to swim normally out of these islands that you can see out there, because they all had public baths. But in 1951, the water in Oslo fjord had become so dirty that twice, and I don't exaggerate, it's not a lie, it's facts, twice, when I was out there and dived in, twice I came up again with toilet paper in my hair. That was in 1951. And all the public baths in the part of the Oslo fjord were shut down simultaneously for health reasons. And then they started, of course, to clean up, and with all kinds of measures. They have invested not only Oslo as a town or city, but the county Norway have invested millions of crowns to get the fjord back clean again as it should be. And now it is so clean that if it wasn't for the fact that it is salt, you could almost have drunk it. A little bit exaggerated, but it's not far from the truth. And if you look just across here, the harbor, can you see that very peculiar roof over there?
Yeah.
Looking as it is falling down into the fjord. You see that? Why? That's the public bath, where you swim in the sea, you know. And it's in the part of the harbor here, of the capital. On the other side, in that part, there is also another inlet. They have exactly the same. As next neighbor to our opera house, there we have the other public bath in the most inner part of Oslo, which of course is the guarantee that the water now is good and sound. So that's what happened in between. The islands we see out there, you see at least one of them very good. Up until 1921, those islands were just naked islands. They were nothing. But they were islands where the fishermen fishing in the fjord, they went ashore there to have a bite, to have a lunch or something. That was all. But there was no building there, nothing. But then in 1921, the municipality of Oslo decided to offer the poorer part of the population in the city very cheap sites for possible building of very modest and simple huts. For a yearly rent of today's money, $1, they would have a site of normally the same site of all of them, around 300 square meters. But they didn't have the money to build any huts or anything. But they can have perhaps a tent or some material that they could just make some very modest primitive things to have a roof over their head when it started to rain. They didn't have boats. Perhaps one in the big family had a rowboat, but then in the weekend, at least on Sunday, because they worked also on Saturday, on Sunday they could row out to these islands, go ashore and bathe, fish and make a picnic on this one day in the week when they have off and when they have a leisure time. That was in 1921. Today, things are different. On these islands in the inner part of the fjord, there are today approximately 600 huts. Not houses, huts. That's very important to stress. Because there is a restriction on the size. They cannot have a ground floor bigger than 40 square meters. That is the maximum. And on the ground floor and the second of the first floor, that's all. They also have to choose one of three colors, yellow, brown or red. That's the color of those houses. They don't have indoor toilets. They don't have indoor water. They have wells where they go and pick up with buckets. And their toilets are shared with the others outdoor. And those, those are the old toilets, not flushy toilets. You have to take away what comes down after a while. So that's what it is today. But you almost never see one of these huts up for sale. Almost never. But there was one last fall, and that was on the island you see right ahead.